Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Battlefield 4 reveal trailer. Now we're not going to watch the whole thing. It's 17 minutes long. If you want to watch it, you can just go to the Battlefield YouTube channel. It's posted on there. It's a good trailer. I highly recommend watching it. But I'm going to go through the bits that I think are important and sort of give us some information about what's coming on with the new Battlefield game. Now I'm going to pause the video here in a second so that we can use this image here to compare to some current Battlefield 3 imagery in a similar environment. Pay attention to the sun as I transition to the Battlefield 3 image. You'll notice that although the sun placement isn't identical, the Battlefield 3 sun is significantly brighter and there is sort of a lens flare that goes out a bit further over the gun area. And overall, I think the Battlefield 3 sun is more blinding than this one. Let me flip back and forth between the two images a little bit here so you can see just exactly what I'm talking about with the comparison. Yes, the Battlefield 4 sun is brighter than most suns in most games, but I think they toned it down a bit since Battlefield 3. Now let's take a look at some of the user interface changes. The mini-map on the lower left corner is larger than it used to be in Battlefield 3, and it also has directional indicators that look like they're a lot easier to read than the one in Battlefield 3. Moving along to the right, you'll notice that this is the M16A3 with the 3.4 American scope on there. I've replicated that in Battlefield 3, and you'll notice that the gun is actually held at a steeper angle. Not only does this look cooler in my opinion, but it also allows you to make better use of the space on the screen. So you'll notice that there's a lot more area to the right of the gun that's actually visible, and they're able to sort of increase the size of the UI for the ammo counter and your grenades and your health. I'm going to switch back to that BF3 screen one last time and just pay attention to how much more of the screen is taken up by your weapon in Battlefield 3 compared to BF4. I like the new changes with the angle of the gun and how they're situating the UI. I think it looks a lot easier to read and just slicker in general. Alright, so we know it's going to be a while before Battlefield 4 is a finished product and we're able to play it, but we may as well take a look at some of the technical aspects. How about reloading? We know this is the M16A3, it's got that 3.4 times scope on it. Let's compare the reload animation and reload time to Battlefield 3. I would say it looks pretty much identical. The times, the animation, everything about it looks spot on. Now how about zooming down sights with the same scope? Well, it actually looks pretty much the same. I have to say that there's a little bit more screen real estate on Battlefield 4, which is nice. I like the area around the scope. You don't feel so encumbered by it as you did in Battlefield 3, but it's pretty much the same. I know some people were kind of off-put by the fact that a lot of the game looks pretty much identical to Battlefield 3, and I'm not so much frightened by this. You know, I'm a gameplay guy. The game already looks great. Battlefield 3 looks great. Battlefield 4 clearly looks better. They have updated the shaders in this, and if they have good animations to begin with, why update them? You know, I don't need everything to be completely changed for the new game. So I'm not really off-put by some of the recycled animations and whatnot. I don't think it's a big deal. I'm looking forward to new innovations in gameplay, that sort of thing. Okay, so as we're moving along in the trailer here, I want you to pay attention to this part. Some machine gun rounds just went right past the main character's head, and there doesn't seem to be any suppression. Now, people were pretty excited about this, and I was excited too when I watched the initial trailer, but then somebody sort of tweeted at me, hey, there wasn't really much suppression in the single player of Battlefield 3 either. So here's a clip of single player in BF3. Lots of bullets going past. I don't really see any suppression except for when he gets hit directly with the bullets. It's the same thing in the Battlefield 4 trailer. When the player gets hit directly by shots, then his screen sort of blurs a little. But other than that, it doesn't look like there's much suppression. I don't think we can really draw any conclusions from the single player trailer about what suppression is going to be like in the multiplayer. Now for me personally, this was the single coolest moment of the whole Battlefield 4 trailer. Switching to that offset sight, that 45-degree sight on the side of the gun. That just looks so freaking cool. It gives you the options of having two sights on one gun. It's just a really cool concept. I know they have them in real life. Obviously, DICE didn't invent the 45-degree angle sight, but it just looks badass. It gives you cool tactical options. I'm really looking forward to this upgrade. Now here's a freeze frame of the transition from your main sight to the offset sight. And you'll notice at the end of the barrel there's also another offset sight at the end of the gun. So it looks pretty cool, and I imagine you'll see that offset sight a little bit better if you're not running with such a large scope on top of the M16. Now, I already talked about this in my initial impressions of the BF4 reveal, but here is the spotting mechanic for spotting bad guys. You sort of point your hand in the direction there, and apparently this is the actual military hand signal to let your teammates know that there are targets in that direction. Now I'm running this clip again because we switched to the short 870 shotgun that has a foregrip on there. I did a quick little Google image search and came up with this here. I imagine it's something that looks almost identical to this. Of course, there's a few visual differences, like not having a sight rail on top of the gun or a hook on the rear, but other than that, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the gun that we're going to be using in Battlefield 4. Then we switch up to the MGL, which stands for Multiple Grenade Launcher. This thing can hold 6 grenades at a time before you need to reload it, and it looks cool. I'm looking forward to using it. Hopefully we can get around grenade spam in multiplayer. And thanks to the Reddit community, somebody was watching through the video and freeze framed it here and hold R to pick up the AEK 971. Looks like we're getting our AEKs back, which is good news. I'm looking forward to my high rate of fire Russian assault rifle. Here's a clip of Battlefield 3 walking through some of these God rays here. You'll notice that the highlighting on the gun looks good, but it's not particularly impressive. You'll notice the highlighting here when you're walking around in Battlefield 4 is definitely a bit more intense. It sort of shines more intensely. They've definitely upped the shader quality. Not to mention the character models look a bit better also in Battlefield 4. Facial modeling, that kind of thing. It just looks, everything looks a little bit more polished. Like the textures have had a lot more time spent on them, making them nice and high res. There is without a doubt a graphical upgrade. It's just not probably as big of an upgrade as some people were expecting. A lot of players have also noticed that the character models in-game seem to be identical to BF3. The Russians you're shooting here are the same sort of classes you'll find in Battlefield 3. Like there's a support class right there, he looks the same. But from my understanding, it sounds like a lot of this stuff is sort of placeholders right now. They can build out the single player campaign with older models and then swap in the new models when it gets closer to release date. Like they could still be working on the new character models and making them look different and cooler, and they can just work with the old models until then. So I have a feeling that we're probably going to see a lot of new character models come final release. And check out these freaking explosions. Look at that there. Look at that explosion and tell me this game doesn't look better than BF3. That right there, if we're seeing those explosions on a regular basis in multiplayer, holy crap, that's going to be awesome. There was a little post on Reddit again about screen grab showing a wristwatch that says Battlefield on it, and it was set to 10:08, I think. And people were speculating that that was going to be the release date, but in fact that is just sort of the standard time that a lot of watch manufacturers set their clocks to, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't mean anything, although it could. It seems like it might line up with some of the speculation about the BF4 release date, but I doubt it. So overall, I'm quite happy with the visual quality of Battlefield 4. I like that they haven't tried to reinvent the wheel again. I mean, Battlefield 3 is such a good game, and it just needed a little extra polish. If we get that polish in Battlefield 4, we get a solid, non-buggy launch with some really good gameplay enhancements, and perhaps the devs focus more on just making the multiplayer experience even that much better, then I think we're going to have a freaking awesome game. So that pretty much wraps it up for my analysis of the BF4 reveal. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.